Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Clubhouse MMA Podcast, where we bring you the latest, hottest MMA news, fight recaps, and picks for the upcoming weeks every single week. My name is Josh. I am your host. Chris, my partner in crime, could not be here today due to a positive test in coronavirus.
It's the same strain.
It's the same strain, COVID-19. Him and his wife came back positive just today, we found out. So he's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. We wish him a quick recovery.
Feel better.
Yes, sir. Please give us a follow on our social media channels where we post daily. That is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But quickly, before we get started with the episode, we do have a couple of announcements. We do have new merch coming pretty soon. We're very excited about that. Some people have asked about it, so hey.
We're obliging.
Hey, here we go. And we also have a giveaway coming up. We're at 450 followers, so once we hit 500, we're going to give away one of Chris's Venom gloves.
Tag your friends.
Yeah. All right, we're not going to give away his gloves, but we will be doing a giveaway pretty soon, so stay posted, give us a follow on our social media to stay informed. Without further ado, Kayla, my beautiful wife, will be our co-host for the day. I appreciate you. We had to lure the kids in with TV and chips, and
our time may be limited.
Yes, it will be limited just like last week, so we'll just get started with the episode. Jump right into what people are here to listen.
Down to brass tacks.
And that is our recap for UFC Fight Island Ortega versus the Korean Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah, we watched the fights. They were pretty good. They started kind of early, so it's gonna be like at 4 o'clock. I think. Like
it threw me off, but I was in it.
Yeah. So the prelims started. We'll start right from the prelims. We got pulled up on ESPN right here. The very first fight, Said Nurmagomedov versus Mark Striegel. Everybody's asking, is that Khabib's cousin? It is not.
What?
This is not. Said Nurmagomedov, same last name.
Dun, dun, dun.
That just fought last weekend. It is not Khabib's cousin. All right?
I feel lied to.
However, next weekend, there is a guy that he's not fighting anymore. He just pulled out due to COVID or flu or something like that, and he is Khabib's cousin. I have the name somewhere. I don't have it right now. I'll find it throughout the podcast. But two Nurmagomedovs. One is a cousin. One has nothing to do with Khabib. The guy that fought last weekend has nothing to do with Khabib.
This is a house of lies.
It's weird. It's kind of like, like the name Muhammad is the most popular name in the world, but I don't know any Muhammads.
Sure.
So it's, they got a lot of people in that part of the world too.
Well, it's news to me.
But let's get into it. From the prelims, from the very bottom, like I said, Said Nurmagomedov. We have a replay on
Instagram. Right?
Instagram for sure. Pretty decent fight. Pretty good KO. Here, I'll pull it up. Do you have it?
I don't have the fight pulled up.
Yeah, can you pull it up real quick? That fight ended in a round 1 TKO by Said Nurmagomedov. 18 strikes total thrown in there, and that was it. 18-3. Gets a pretty good win against Mark Striegel.
Okay, I'm looking for it now. It's here, yeah?
No.
Yep.
That one, yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's a decent KO.
Technical difficulties.
There it is.
It was quick. He just bounced his face off the floor like a basketball, and it was done.
Yeah, it was one of those where he rocked them, then Said threw a kick. The guy tries to grab the kick, and he does kind of go for a single leg as he got knocked down, but instead of leaning into him to knock him down, he just was never able. He just kind of leans back, and Said just smacked him 3 more times with a single leg.
It was pretty brutal. Like, he actually, he kind of held on to him at the beginning, and then and then that was over. Then he was just playing games.
Pretty good fight. Good job for Said. The next fight of the night was in the light heavyweight division between Maxim Grishin. Do you have that replay? Versus Maxim Grishin and Antigulov. I thought Antigulov was gonna pull this
Here, yeah.
win. Yeah, it's the next one, and it was just a crazy KO.
He looked like he was just practicing at the gym, right off the guy's head.
There's a little bit of controversy. All right, stop. There's a little bit of controversy with that fight because the referee put a stop to it with 2 seconds to go. So that fight ended in round 2, 4 minutes, 58 seconds.
Yeah, but it's like I said, the ref isn't watching the clock. He's watching the opponent, so, he made the right call.
Yeah, they do.
I feel.
The dude, I think we had some comments on that on our Instagram. We had a decent conversation. No, we're not doing our comment
I
of
was
the
just
week.
thinking.
Yeah, we're not doing
Oh, no,
that.
we got one, but it's a DM.
Yes, we
DM of the week.
I don't want to spoil it, but John Jones. But anyways, we had a comment on Instagram. It said they asked us, ClubhouseMMA Podcast, did you guys agree with the stoppage? And we responded, meh, I'm not angry about I'm not angry about it. I'll see how they could have let it go 2 more seconds, but he did get rocked, was leaning on the fence, wasn't looking at his attacker, and took about 10 shots unanswered. To which they responded, yeah, I like the stoppage. Can't need that many unanswered shots. Can see the other side of the argument too. Then boom, for sure. So a little bit of controversy, but the guy was stunned.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, if I was the fighter, I'm pretty sure I wish that he would have let it go for 2 more seconds, but
I mean, it's the same thing as the next fight we're about to discuss, right? The girls? Are they next?
no, they're not just yet. They'll be here in a minute.
Okay, because it's a similar thing, I feel.
Yeah, you got anything else on that fight between Antigulov and Grecian?
No.
No, it was a pretty decent fight. Strikes were 66 to 31. They were there. But crazy KO, crazy finish against the cage. Gets knocked out. All right, continuing, we have the lightweight division fight between Fares Ziam and Jamie Malarkey. That was a decision, round 5. Some people disagree with the decision in that one. Ziam gets the win, moving him to 10-3 for his record. He did throw twice the strikes, but basically after the fight started with 2 quick finishes, and then after that, decisions.
Yeah,
Decision City.
That fight we're discussing right now, doesn't even stand out in my mind.
Yeah. It was a good fight, these guys are lightweight, they're throwing, they threw, but what are you going to do? They went to the ground a lot, they had a lot of, it says no submission at times, but I saw a couple of times where they were a little scared. They took about 6 takedowns, so there was a lot of, up and down, I take you down, you take me down, back and forth. It was a fun fight, but nothing crazy. The next fight?
Park and John Phillips.
Yep, Park Jun-young versus John Phillips. Park, we picked him to win last week, and he gets a W. If you guys are betting through Clubhouse MMA, good luck. We're about 50-50.
You've been warned.
Honestly, I don't know how, but Chris is better than me at making picks for fights, or predictions, really. He's good at figuring out how they're going to end. But anyways, that was a good fight. That fight was crazy. So the funny thing is, John Phillips, for those of you listening or watching us at home through YouTube, Clubhouse MMA Podcast, John Phillips lost to Hamza Chimaev last time they were in Fight Island pretty badly, 120-something strikes to 2. He got taken to the ground.
Records were broken.
Yeah, Hamza broke records of ground strikes or something against that opponent. Phillips went home, forgot to train wrestling, and showed up against Park Jung, which broke another record. I think he had over 300 ground strikes.
He broke the UFC record.
The UFC record, yeah. Not just welterweight, not middleweight. The entire UFC. Nobody in the history of UFC has thrown so many ground strikes in the history of the UFC. So John Phillips, basically...
Total strikes, 350 versus 25.
and listen, that's what the stats say. I promise you there were more than that. I promise you. I think they were.
That's just what they counted.
So poor guy John Phillips is on the fast track to getting cut from the UFC, and his record is going to be 500 strikes absorbed to 13 to 15 landed. That's insane.
Well, weed people out, I guess.
Yeah, you need to practice some takedowns. And the funny thing is that Hamza was backstage with John Phillips, kind of helping him figure out how to like counter a takedown.
Really?
Did you see that video?
No.
I posted it on Instagram. But I'll tell you. Basically, it's just Hamza and Phillips in their back. So Phillips is about to step out for his fight.
He's like, remember how you fucked up last time?
Yeah, and Hamza is basically in Fight Island hanging out. He's just waiting for a fight. Anybody. He'll just
That's
fight
his
them.
home.
He's just hanging out.
I'll beat you up in the parking lot.
Anyway. So he's backstage with him, and he's basically telling Phillips to shoot, and Phillips shoots for like a double takedown, and then he hip thrusts out to create the space and make the underhook to prevent the takedown. So he's just giving him like last second tips on takedown prevention, but
it obviously didn't help.
It did not work.
Striking or anything.
Because round 1 was semi-competitive, but that was it. Park had 4 out of 4 takedowns, didn't miss. Once he got taken down, he managed to get up. Round 1 barely, but overall it wasn't
barely and barely.
Barrel. Not a burly man. But good fight. Great job for Park. Young. 260 strikes, 73% accuracy. 10 significant strikes, 4 out of 4 takedowns. Hey, stats all day long. You gotta have a good fight once in a while to pad your stats.
Okay, let's talk about the next fight that I called and I'm super excited about because your girl got her face smashed in by my ginger.
So, Pollyanna Botelho, obviously we're a big fan of the podcast. Brazil. Most of our followers come from Brazil, honestly. So, shout out. But our girl got beat up, although she was in good spirits the next day. Pollyanna Botelho, she was, happy to learn, happy for the experience. So, that's pretty good. She said thank you, which pretty much, I'm sure she meant us.
She was talking to you.
All their support.
She was specifically talking to you.
I personally give her.
Personally, Josh, thanks.
But Jillian Robertson had a different plan. We've seen Jillian fight before.
She was incredible when we watched her.
Yeah, we saw her live in
Tampa.
In Tampa. So, what happened in that fight? Do you remember?
I don't really remember.
Down.
Like,
just take
yeah, she just kept taking her down,
and then beating her on the ground. That was it.
I just remember vividly your girl's eye being
swollen,
like black.
Yeah.
It was already just like black all underneath.
Yeah. So that fight went the same. Round 1, they stood for about half a round. Honestly, Jillian wasn't doing too bad in the stand-up, but her plan is the same also. It's just like Habib, take you down, ground and pound you, and that was it.
We don't have any.
No, I didn't post a highlight because he went to a decision. Everybody knew who was gonna win.
Yeah.
So if you don't get finishes, I'm probably not gonna post on the ClubhouseMMA Podcast Instagram. But regardless, 104 strikes to 40. Round 1, Pollyanna put up a fight in the ground. Round 2, Pollyanna put less of a fight on the ground.
Round 3, not really a fight.
I mean, it's hard, when you're in that, we talked about it during the fight, when you have somebody on top of you and everything you do.
Yeah, and you're just trying to think of how not to give them an advantage, I'm sure.
She would try to shrimp out, nothing. She would try
elbowing, too.
Pollyanna from the bottom would, arch up, trying to
push
Jillian up. And Jillian's feet were literally under Pollyanna's butt, gripping perfectly. So it's just a very frustrating position, and she knew it. After round 1, I'm sure she was like, I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm. I need to work on that ground game.
Yeah, well.
But good fight for the women's flyweight division. Jillian Robertson is pretty much on that tear right now.
I think she's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, she is on a, 2, 3, I think, 4 or 5 winning streak right now. So she's doing good. Who's the next fight? And the last fight of the Coleman.
Why are you always trying to make me say the names that are not pronounceable?
Just say the last name.
Gamrot?
Yo, Gamrot?
Nope.
And we had the lightweight division. And Guram, there you go. Guram versus Mateus. Good fight. Mateus came in undefeated to the UFC. Guram had 11-2. Guram is teammate with Hamza Chimaev.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty crazy to see the love between those two guys. And,
yeah.
the anxiety. Like Hamza looked more anxious sitting next to Dana, and
Yeah.
after the fight and during the fight, he's pacing back and forth,
Taking
jumping in
his
play,
jacket
taking his
off.
jacket off, like, and all he's doing is waiting for his teammate to come out. He's not even a
Look,
corner man.
that's his brother. Like, you're sending your brothers out there to fight, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
you
kind
want him
of.
to do well.
Yeah, kind of interesting. In the post-fight interview, they asked him, "Hey, right now people are matching your career with
Mhm.
Hamza. Does that bother you, or do you like it?" He's like, "Brother, you don't understand. He's more than brother.
Mhm.
Like there's no
I'll
doubt.
give
I
him
don't give a
everything he
shit."
needs, all my money, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give it to him just because he would do the same for me.
Those were literally his words. He's like, if he ever needs anything,
Everything
all
I
my
had
money,
was
all
for
my
him.
clothes, I would give it to him, and he would do the same for me. Like we're at a different level. So
That whole team too, like, I feel,
that's the Switzerland team.
yeah, they just, it reminds me of Khabib in the way that they are, like, they have so much respect for each other and just people in general. Like, they are respectful people.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Guram, which he was pretty upset. Remember,
he
Kutateladze
felt
after the
like
fight.
he didn't do what he needed to do, or
Yeah, well, he went to a split decision at the end, and then Guram Kutateladze got the decision. So what happened was round one, Guram wins, hands down. Guram wins, 100%. Round two, it's like a 60-40. Guram wins. Kutateladze wins again. Round two, kind of there, but Guram wins it. Round three, Gamera gets him to the ground and doesn't let him get back up and just ground and pound till the end of the round. Not as bad to be like a 10-8 round, but bad enough that Guram was like, fuck, I just got owned type of deal. So when the split decision came, he wasn't happy about it.
He wasn't proud of his performance. Like,
yeah, of course. And then, and immediately after, he's like, brother, you won this fight. He's telling the
other guy from outside the ring, too. Like, I said it was you.
So, but either way, good fight. Win. I thought Guram won. Like, not even like it's a win. It's honestly, I thought he won. Yeah. I thought he did enough. I thought he took rounds 1 and 2. Even if he lost 3, whatever. It's a points game if you don't get the finish. But
follow us, Guram. Follow us on Instagram.
Dude, that dude is ripped. Do you remember he posted a picture of like throwing like a high kick just like this, but higher because he's more flexible on my fingers, and every muscle fiber on his body, you can see he had striations.
Like just walking.
Yeah, just normal. Normal.
That's pretty insane.
But that is the end of the prelim card. You have anything else for the prelims there?
I do not.
Alrighty, let's jump into the main card. Starting from the bottom, can you say those?
Let's just scroll. Let's scroll and see. Jonathan Martinez and Thomas Almeida.
Almeida. Yeah, so pretty good.
Said what it said.
He was these guys are featherweights, but they kind of look like bantamweights, and the way they were fighting.
Yeah, I remember that fight.
It was a lot of backing up from Thomas Almeida and a lot of moving forward from Martinez, kind of being crazy.
He was like childlike in his joy of fighting, and then after when he won too, right? Like he's the one that like hugged his coach, like I did it, you know?
Yeah, no, it was incredible, and they commented about this during the fight. They were saying, when you look at the numbers, they are even. Rounds 1 and 2, they were pretty even.
Yeah.
And when it comes to strikes, that hit. But when you look at the total output, Martinez was swinging all day long. Like, and when you look at the strikes, here we have him once again. Jonathan Martinez, the winner, round 3 decision, threw 205 strikes and only 73 hit. Whereas Almeida threw 171 strikes, 64 hit.
Yeah.
So as you guys can see, it was a very close fight, but there was a lot of swinging. So it was kind of hard to tell who was winning.
Yeah.
But it was easier to give it to Martinez because he just threw the most strikes.
He
stuffed 5 takedowns, So.
Yeah.
But crazy fight, good fight, fun fight.
He was a fun fighter to watch for me.
Yeah. And like you said in the post fight, hugging his coach and almost crying and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Who's the Brazilian girl that we like? That's like super hype all of the time.
Oh, yes, I know what you're saying.
Right, he reminds me a bit of her. Just like happy people.
Yeah, she's crazy. What's her name? Dude, now I'm gonna have it here.
Find it.
Give me a letter of her name.
Nope, I got nothing.
We can brainstorm here. I want to say T. M.
We've gone down a rabbit hole, everybody.
All right, let's get out of it. Well, I'll remember.
We'll put it up on Instagram.
What's her name?
We'll tag it in the stories. Check it out. You'll know who we're talking about.
All right, who's the next fight? Well, I think
I brain ninja'd you. All right. So now we have James Krauss and Claudio Silva.
What are the strikes and stuff for that one?
You're still looking for her?
I'm still looking for her.
Sorry, guys. This is my fault. Silva threw 216, 66 landed, and Krauss threw only 162, but 96 of his landed. So he was definitely more accurate.
Yeah, so this was one of those classic newer guy coming in 14-1 into the UFC versus the veteran James Krauss.
Yeah, it was a round 3.
That's 28-9.
Decision.
Yep, came back to a decision. I think that one was unanimous. I don't recall 100%, but I'm pretty sure that one was unanimous. And yeah, just a lot of swinging from two big guys.
Yeah.
It was a good fight. James Krauss did a good job. I was happy he won. Like I said, he's one of the veterans. He has almost 40 fights,
Jeez.
you know, in the octagon. So he's an older guy. Let's see, how old is he? Does it say? He's not old at all. He was born in 86, just like me. He's young.
So young.
But he got started early in the UFC. All right. What's up next? Here we go.
I am excited for this one.
The last 3.
Yeah. Light heavyweight Jimmy Crute. And is it Modestas?
Bukaskas.
There you go. That fight was crazy.
That was a fun fight.
That was crazy. You did, because it, like, when he ended it, it was wild.
Straight over the top, down the pipe with
So
the
that was a
right
triple
hand.
KO.
Clipped him with another right uppercut, and then the left hook was what finished him up against the fence.
That was the one where, like, immediately after the fight, he sits by him, but then he gets kicked out because he's sitting by the gate.
Well, yeah, he was blocking the way for the responders to come in. Those punches were so solid. Like, it wasn't like, you know, when somebody gets hit hard and then you kind of follow up with something that probably doesn't hit. They all hit him, like, square where they should.
Yeah, for sure. And if you saw some of the comments from the UFC fighters, was like, I'm glad the referee stopped it because he took 3 flash KOs in that span.
Yeah,
He took the heavy overhand. Then as he turned around, got another one, and then once he hit the fence, he got another one too.
He was staring up like he did not know where he was.
Straight over the top, down the pipe
We're
with the
showing
right
the replay on
hand.
YouTube.
Clipped him with another right uppercut, and then the left hook was what finished him
Yep,
up against
he
the
was
fence.
just out of it.
Yeah.
He got knocked out 3 times in a row.
What round did that one end?
That was round 1.
Round 1, yeah.
At 2 minutes into the fight.
I love those round 1 finishes, but it just kind of sucks because you're like, well, nothing else to talk about. He got knocked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'd rather, not that I want anybody to get hurt, but I'd rather see somebody, like, get knocked out than it go to a decision.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Good fight. Check out our replays on Instagram. For those of you that are listening, we are showing the videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Continuing.
Caitlin Chukagian. There you go.
Versus Jessica.
Why are you making me say all these names?
Andrade.
That was beastie. Was it a liver shot that ended her?
Double liver shot. So
she looked like, I saw like a slow motion of that punch, and she looked like she was gonna vomit. And then immediately, I don't know if you saw. So obviously, like, the ref calls it because she's screaming in pain. But the moment that the ref stopped the fight, she shoots up like, no.
Because that pain doesn't last. That intense pain only lasts 10 seconds at most.
Yeah.
Then you can that pain that just shuts you down, makes you fall.
Yeah.
You know, so most people take a liver shot and they fall.
Yeah.
Chukagian took a liver shot from Andrade, whom is 3 divisions heavier. Okay, 2 divisions heavier. This is so she heavier this time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she was well fed for this fight.
She threw the uppercut that hit Chukagian on the liver, and Chukagian was on the fence, pushes her away, and screams like "Ah!"
Yeah.
That's the first one that Chukagian managed to stay up and standing and continue.
Mm-hmm. And then got
Andrade
her again.
does the flashy knee, which is cool, although it didn't hit anything.
It was still cool.
But once Chukagian covers up, Andrade goes again, boom, body shot, and that's a double liver shot. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
But it just sucked, like seeing Caitlin's face when she realized it was over, and she still felt like she had to fight.
It sucks, of course.
It was like, sorry, girl.
Sucks. Here,
your liver will thank you tomorrow.
I'm gonna show the replay. Here's the second liver shot. She runs and boom.
Right there.
That's it. It's over. Let's see if we can catch it first. Let's see right here, the fence liver shot.
Yeah, and you can see she's in pain too. She's holding her side.
And boom. That's it.
I hurt watching that.
Dude, those body shots were no joke. Those body shots cost the most comments this week were in that thread, on that video that I just showed and had you guys listen to. Because it was pretty crazy. Everybody's, saying those body shots. Yeah, it was just crazy. Get bodied. But regardless, good fight. And, kind of cool about it is that puts Jessica Andrade as the only female fighter with wins in 3 weight divisions in the UFC.
Was this her 4th?
No, this is her 3rd weight division.
Okay.
So she has a win in the very lightest, like 115. Then she has a win on 135, and she was the champ. And then now she got a win at 125. So she is champ in all 3.
She was not 125.
That's just 24 hours earlier.
Girl, I saw you.
And then is the main event next or no?
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on.
You got those?
To the main event.
I'm gonna take a sip.
Brian Ortega.
T-City.
And Chan Sung-jun.
The Korean
zombie. Who, in fact, became a zombie partway through the fight, having no recollection of what happened after, and operating on autopilot.
Yep. Yeah, so actually, since you brought it up, I'll bring it up right now. And on Instagram, we posted a story about this. And I'll be honest, I'm the first one to admit I was kind of biased this whole fight and salty, a little bit salty.
I'm right there with you.
It's not that I wanted the Korean zombie to win. I just wanted him to do something.
He just...
You know what I mean?
Was stunned.
Well, rounds 1 and 2. Rounds 1 and 2... and I was kind of hating on him, like, do something. But the Korean zombie style is to pressure you against the fence, kind of trap you.
But Ortega knew that.
But Ortega knew that, and Ortega did not. Every time Ortega got close to the fence, he would book it in a different direction. So, again, you can't really... It's one of those where the zombie looked super bad the first 2 rounds, a little bit slow, lethargic, and everything, like I still think he did. Definitely for the rest of the fight. But... he has a game plan. The game plan is to corner Ortega. Ortega's game plan was to not get cornered, run away if you need to, which he did plenty of times. And then, what was it, round 2? Yep, at the end of round 2, Ortega, T-City, catches the Korean zombie with the spinning elbow.
Something, yeah.
The spinning elbow.
He knocked him down and everything, right?
And that was it. And then after that, I'm sorry, I forgot. I got distracted. I wanted to read the Korean zombie's post right after. So he says, I don't remember rounds 3, 4, 5. I don't remember. But it is so amazing to see you fighting. Ha ha ha. I have to find out why I lost when I lose the game. Again, guys, this is translated from Korean, so if it sounds weird and out of place,
something's lost.
Because it is, yeah. The opponent was too high. South, I was supposed to attract my opponent when I was in the middle of the day. But I'm just a fool who hit such an elbow. Ortega did so well, and it's just that I'm ashamed of myself right now. Thank you for your support, though. I'm sorry. Basically, he's like, I don't remember rounds 3, 4, and 5. It was cool to see myself still fighting out there.
Yeah.
Right? I'm ashamed. Ortega, that's another thing which I didn't catch during the fight. Ortega was fighting southpaw.
They said that early he switched stance, and they weren't sure if he switched stance because he took some damage to his leg.
But I think that was part of the game plan.
It just threw him off in every sense.
So if you and I are fighting like this, right now my power arm is this, and if my left, right, and if I try to hit you, you have a long time to escape. But if my stance is this, this is my power arm. I'm closer to you.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Ortega said, you know what, that's your power arm. I'm going to switch stance. So now you're further from being able to hit me with your best shot. And I'm running. And that's it. Yeah, cover yourself.
Literally, when you switch stance, like, my brain shut down. I have zero fighting experience. Like, I've never wrestled. Well, I mean...
Well, yeah, you did.
I fought.
I've seen you wrestle.
I'm scrappy, but, like, I've never had any formal fighting training at all. So, like, switching a stance to me doesn't make sense. So when you did that, I'm like, eh?
Yeah, no, it's weird. And, and obviously, they're pros or whatever, so they can figure it out. However, if you did an entire training camp expecting somebody to fight you one way, all your counters on one way, you know?
Yeah.
When fighters go to fight, some fighters are free and they're thinking on their feet. Some fighters are just on autopilot and they've
got a strategy and it's banking on the other person doing a certain thing.
But here's the elbow, and Ortega practicing it in backstage. So that was the plan. The bait moves back, spinning elbow.
Yep.
That's the elbow that started and ended everything.
I spent so much time during that fight watching the Korean Zombie trying to figure out what he was doing, not realizing that he was, like, concussed, that I didn't really even watch Ortega. Like, I have to go back and rewatch the fight because I can't even, aside from that moment when he switched stance that I remember watching, I don't remember much else of him. Because I was like, what are you doing? Zombie?
At first, I'm like, well, it's not that Ortega looked good. It's really that the zombie looked like shit. That whole fight. That was my first stance, and I'm like, all right, fine. I admit Ortega looked good, but only like in rounds 3, 4, 5. Like the later round.
When really, like, he might have looked good from the get-go.
Well, he did, but in the first rounds, he's just running around, just staying away. Once he hit that elbow, like, to me, Ortega looked also stiff. Like, like when Francis Ngannou lost the first time to Stipe, and then he fought, who was it, Lewis? And they just stood there for 15 minutes, and they threw, like, 2 punches. Anyways, when Francis Ngannou, the African undefeated fighter, French training, unlike our boy from real Africa. Anyways,
You mean from Nebraska?
No, not Marty.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, Francis Ngannou lost his next fight. That was his first loss ever. His next fight, he was very... Like, honestly, I don't think they threw more than 30 punches that entire fight. 2 heavyweights. Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. Nobody... 30 punches. And I'm making that up, so I may be wrong for the listeners, but I think it's less. I'm exaggerating with 30. Because they were both hesitant. Nobody wanted to get knocked out. I think Ortega started the fight in that way. Running more. Being sneaky. Like, I don't want to get knocked out. But once he... I think by round 4, you start seeing Ortega actually, like...
Loosen
up and actually get in. The whole time, they're like this. Hands up, I'm fighting. By the end of round 3, 4, he's finally putting heads down, moving. So, I don't know, good fight. By the end of round 4 and 5, again, Ortega was throwing not just body kicks, but high kicks, low kicks, spinning kicks.
Yeah, well, it's not hard to play around when your opponent's literally just standing there. Like,
honestly,
it
looked like that. It kind of looked like a zombie, just literally just walking forward. Ortega would get in there, and she would just keep...
See, it's an incredible thing to realize that he was not there, but he was functioning on autopilot. Like, how incredible is that?
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. It's pretty impressive. I don't know.
It's props. Either way, like...
Props to the Korean Zombie. Obviously... He is still one of the best guys out there. He's still ranked pretty high. Ortega did a good revamp of his entire training camp. He pretty much fired everybody except Raynard Gracie. And
it worked.
He got it. He trained. He's not even saying he's Ortega 2.0. Everybody keeps saying, which is kind of obnoxious. He's like, honestly, it's not even the beginning. I'm just redoing everything. I had lost passion for the sport. I was always winning.
It's hard work, like getting back to what matters to you. So,
but
yay for him.
Really good fights last weekend. Once again, those were fights on October 17th, and that was UFC Ortega versus the Korean Zombie fight recap and insights. You got anything else for us?
No, I don't.
All right, take us to commercial, please.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
We'll be back.